Hey guys, I took over Dave's channel. What do you guys think?
Oh,
He's almost here. Technical difficulties, guys. It's a channel takeover. How's everybody doing tonight? He's coming in. He just his system crashed right before we were going live. Go figure, right? Hey Tammy. Hey Brenda. Michelle, I see you in there. Proud Monkey. Mike's here. How's it going, Mike? Let's see who else we got. Yeah, I think I got everybody.
all right.
Awesome.
Am I here now?
Channel takeover is done.
Oh my God. Talk about like we're about to report on a bunch of hacking and then all of a sudden my system dies.
Right?
Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm sure Mark already said that.
Mark,
thanks for being here. Channel takeover. Mark's been taking over. It's so much easier to add Mark as an admin. He knows StreamYard way better than I do anyway. And it's just bam. Yeah, Michelle. From the peanut gallery already. GT got hacked too. Yeah, let's not hope that doesn't happen.
That was all me, guys.
So you just got back from Seven Feathers.
Computer.
You just got back from Oregon. How did that go?
It was good. We had a good time. It was
nice.
The weather was beautiful out there. That was probably the best highlight because as much as it's a great casino, it's very smoky when it gets crowded. Very smoky in there. And I mean, even the non-smoking room is smoky because it's connected to the smoking room. So that didn't get along well with me. I got a couple of migraines while I was there. I don't respond well to cigarette smoke, so it was kind of rough. That. What's that?
I said not many people do respond well to cigarette smoke.
No, I mean if you're a smoker, I guess it's fine. But
I guess smoker,
yeah, it's pretty serious there. I don't know if it's the filtration or just everybody smoking. It could be that. But
it's just like Vegas back in the day with the horrible filters or the river boats in Louisiana or Mississippi. They're horrible.
Yes. Definitely.
Guys, we're definitely going to get to the MGM thing.
Obviously, a lot of stuff going on while I was gone. So glad Dave was keeping everybody up to date. That's awesome.
I was trying to as best I could because there was so much going on. And we're going to get to all that. But first, we got to do a shameless plug about next weekend, the 30th of September. We're going to be at Windstar in the Rome non-smoking room from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m.
That's right.
Come on by. Just say, come on by and hang out. We're going to be playing. We'll answer your questions. We're just going to be having fun. That's it.
Yeah. Just come. I mean, this is not a formal meet and greet where you come up and shake our hands and then we tell you to bug off. No, this is come play with us. We're going to be playing quarter machines and dollar machines, low rolling it. We're going to try to take over the entire Rome non-smoke. I don't think
that'd be awesome.
People. It's pretty big though.
It's pretty big. If we got that many people,
a good time.
Wow, that'd
we
be
want to see some
incredible.
people winning, even if we're not winning. We want to see some people winning. So I hope you guys can make it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a blast. We're definitely looking forward to doing this more often, especially if it works out. Mark and I have been going up to Windstar fairly regularly, and also Jody's going to be there, right? So if you just want to see Jody, you know, you don't want to see us, you want to see Jody. You know, she'll be there as well.
She'll be playing her Rich and Wild, I'm sure.
I'm sure she will.
Her game.
And there's just so much going on in that game. It's just, the old version. I kind of like the old version, but the new graphics are a little bit better on the newer one.
What was the name of the one that you're playing? Like Cave King or something like that?
It was like something weird. Cash King.
So I found that game actually on VegasSlotsOnline.com where you can play all the, you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
So they have actually a bunch of Ainsworth games on there. So you can play Thunder Cash and the Enforcer. And I found that one on there, and it has a really crazy bonus. I wish you would have gotten it in person because it would have paid really well, I think. But you just couldn't get it.
It just like dun gone.
Yeah,
it was just so fast. But it was a fun game.
She is. Jody will be present. Okay,
Jody's there. There we go. We got Jody herself saying it. Jody will be there.
Yep,
the Jody.
She's on the hook now.
All right. Well, I guess let's jump into the topic everyone wants to hear. What socks you bought last week?
MGM all the way across the board.
MGM is the
And then
topic
Caesars.
of the day. MGM and Caesars.
Yeah.
Guys, for IT in general, it has been a stressful week. Everyone is talking about MGM in our industry. It is ridiculous about how many memos have gone out, people asking, are we safe? Are we okay? And the answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Still not.
I mean, yeah. Is any company 100% safe? No. No company is 100% safe. You might be really secure, but no one can say you're 100% safe.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of the issue. But we have been hearing more and more. Let me pull this up here. Share the screen. Bam. And I'm going to allow that. I love doing this stuff because I like. So I've got a bunch of screens opened here. So this is my favorite one right now, which is MGM Resorts recovers from cyber attack, but still no digital room keys. And they actually say it's luxury Excalibur hotel. Well, this is lying right there. Luxury house Excalibur. Those words don't go together.
So just one luxury Excalibur.
One luxury Excalibur.
Oh, man.
But on a whole, MGM is, what the hell? Man, but do I have attack going on? I don't know. On a whole, MGM says it's back to normal. Everything's fine. The details of it, everything's not fine.
No.
They are just customer facing.
I see a tab on the top. Is that your OnlyFans page? Is that? Oh,
which tab? That's not on here.
I scared you.
That's not on here. That's my side hustle. Gamble the Globe on OnlyFans.com. Yeah, check it out. The membership is $7 million a month. All I need is one.
Yeah,
just that one membership.
But yeah,
we haven't had a chance to talk face to face. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, we've both kind of done our thing. Dave's been doing a killer job of keeping everybody up to date, and I've been trying to do the same on Cowboy Slots, but I've fallen behind, mostly because I'm just trying to keep everything general. But Dave's got all the details, and I mean, I think this is great. We can come together because we both are in IT guys, and we listen, we know exactly what this means, and I don't believe any one of these news articles that they're in the clear. I can't possibly believe that yet. I think it's still too soon. I mean, here's what I think happened. This is speculation on my part, but I think everybody got in a room, all the executives, and of course the executives are like, we're losing 10 million a day. How do we get back up? How do we get back up? And somebody in the room says, well, let's do a press release. And so they do a press release saying, oh, we're all resolved. But what is actually resolved is maybe one hotel out of all of them, and maybe only a few key systems, but it's good enough for us to put the press release out and say it's all taken care of. It's all good now. Guys, please start booking your trips. We're in the clear now.
But the website still doesn't work 100%.
Yeah, nothing's still working. 100%. I still can't log in. Yeah.
But you can call and make a reservation because I believe they have like one system up and running. And the call center people are back. So
yeah. I don't know. It doesn't seem. It's not playing out what the articles say, and it's all being driven from a press release. I'm sure that they came out with, and
they're under huge pressure. That's obvious.
Oh, you've got, I mean,
G2E coming up, the convention season coming up, F1 coming up. And
that's right, F1. Yeah, oof.
The article that was the hacker group. So there's essentially 3 groups. We're just going to call them Alpha because that's the easy name to go under. There's actually 2 different groups that came together and they're all partnering. Very common in this realm, taking down a big place like this. But they have said that they're still in the system. As of 2 days ago, they're still in the system and they can do what they want at any time. They've actually kind of taken it personally because MGM has not paid the ransom. They're kind of mocking them at this point. The FBI is involved, and that's kind of hurting their feelings. And these groups are absolute professionals, but they also have a reputation to uphold. So I would not be shocked if this is only the first round, and they're keeping something in the hole for later on to execute. And that's exactly what I would see happening.
Yeah, and this is putting out a press release like this is a great way to energize them, because they'll be like, "Oh, you're going to try to tell us that we're out of here?" No. And
Yep.
these guys are like, listen, these guys are pros at hiding in plain sight. Like that's what they do. They find a way into the system, and then they cover their tracks. Actually, Jody was asking me right before this, like, why can't they just easily find where these people are located? And it's like they're using so many proxies that between them and the actual target that it would be impossible. I mean, much less than a needle in a haystack to try to find where they're located. And the thing is that they can continuously change those proxies around and those connections, but as long as the weakness is still there, they can get in. And the thing that they're not going to do is make it obvious where the weakness or the hole is. Like if I was a hacker, the worst thing you can do is to hack into a system and then start changing things, because then they'll say, "Oh, that's how they got in, so let's go and patch that." What they do is they lie in secret. They find the way in, and then they just stay dormant until the demands aren't met, and then they can easily run a script or whatever. I mean, this is speculation. I'm not saying this is what they're doing. I mean, the other side of it, they could be just bluffing. You never know. Maybe MGM got them out of the system and they're bluffing. You don't know. We don't know. That's the thing. But, these guys are professionals. Thinking that they just, bought software off the shelf that does this is ludicrous. Like these guys
wrote this stuff.
Exactly.
They're not a bunch of script kiddies. They're
not script kiddies. They are professionals that went to the dark side, and this is the result that you get from that, and it's unfortunate.
Let me throw some layman's terms out there. So when we say proxy, what we mean by proxy, think of it as this way. You pick up the phone, you randomly dial a phone number. That person picks up the phone, and then they randomly dial a phone number, and then they put the two phones together. And so now you imagine doing that 20, 30 times or more, and now the chain to try to trace that call gets to be impossible. And it's the exact same thing in internet telephony as well. It works as, I cannot find you easily. And then when we say script kiddie is somebody who downloaded a script, these are the absolute amateur kids. These are the ones who just searched hacking script, copied and pasted, and tried to break in. All this stuff, these guys at this level are ridiculously good. At any time, they could say, listen, I'm done with doing this lifestyle. I want to go work for Cisco. I want to go work for Akamai or any one of the companies. They would walk into a really nice job. I mean, we're talking $500,000 a year or more job. That's how in demand these guys would be. But they're on the other side now, and that's where they prefer to be, which is bad for all of us. So it's ridiculous about how long this has gone on, that it's still possibly going on. And at any time, it could get worse again. And we're there in 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true.
We're there in 3 weeks.
I mean,
I am
just trying to get a hotel room for G2E was difficult. They had to use a paper system. Like they had to bring the paper system back out and physically make like folders with who's going to be where on what day. Like that's what they're doing right now. It's wild.
I mean, how do you even do that for listing out who's going to get what comps and discounts on the rooms and everything?
Oh yeah,
because none of that system's up.
Any of that. I'm not expecting.
I booked my room a year ago. I booked my room on the last day of G2E last year.
How do you know your reservation's still there?
I have no clue. That reservation could totally not be there, and I would not know it until the system comes back up or I arrive and they say, "Who are you again?" Yeah. And then I make it worse by saying, "I'm Gamble the Globe." Who?
Yes, right. Pretty sure I was Noir.
I was Noir. I was getting $5,000 comps each time.
Show them a picture of the card that you got. Say, here's proof.
Ooh, I could do that. There's proof of my card. What's going on?
I got the card.
Why wouldn't I be Noir? And this would be totally the time.
Hopefully,
to do that.
We'll all be lucky, and we'll put our card in the system, and we'll have $15,000 in free play, something like that.
As fast as I can, I will play that free play.
Oh yeah.
I will play that free play.
Like caught on.
Yep. I'm going to the $100 top dollar machine, and I'm gonna run that through. Because as soon as they figure it out, it's going away.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, it's pretty wild, guys. And here's the other fallout of this. And I know that I haven't even talked to Dave about this, but we're both in IT, and I want to make a prediction. Has Dave, have you been contacted by your boss or boss's boss or anybody that says, "Hey, how secure are our systems? Are they pretty rock solid?" Because I have.
So
So
the funny thing was, I get contacted by my boss, and he says, "Hey, do you know anything about this MGM thing?" I gave him a poker chip to my site. So I get called into a meeting because now they've all figured out I've been reporting on this. The bulk of the news that they've had have been my reports. So my company is relying on my YouTube reports for their news.
That's so funny.
I'm brought in, like they're asking, like, are we secure? This is even in my area. This is like other people's areas. Like, we're okay, right? And I'm like, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you we're okay.
Yeah.
Sure, we're okay if it makes you feel better. And I know our response to ransomware is really good, but you're never 100%.
You can't.
And
you can't be.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Everyone keeps asking, do you think that could happen to us? Yeah, it has happened to us before, and I think it happened again.
You're exposed. Like there's nothing you can do. Even sometimes when you're not connected to the internet, you're exposed. So
very true.
Yeah, I mean,
now your company, they've been asking you the same thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got the email that says we can't be hacked. I'm like, you need to do whatever it takes to ensure that we can't be hacked. And I can't say we can. It's impossible. I cannot say that. I can say that we've done everything possible to mitigate our risk, which I've done to great lengths way before this, by the way. I didn't wait for this and say, oh man, now's the time to do it. It's like buying insurance after you get in a car wreck. No, you got to do it way ahead of time. Your insurance policy is that you're thinking about this way before it happens. And so I've put a lot of stuff in place. Now, this is a good time to go and audit all that to make sure that, nothing has been, falling through the cracks, like WordPress updates or something like that. But, you got to have plans. Any IT professional has plans for things like this. They have plans for disaster recovery. And basically what that means is all the drives crash and you got to go get the tape drives out of the closet and start loading them in. Like, Dave, I know you have a plan for that. I've got a plan for that on my side too. Like, you put all these plans in place because that's you're hired as an IT professional not to maintain the systems, but to be there when something goes wrong. It's not just about maintenance. It's about
if you're
being there and being ready, So
if your IT guy is bored, you're in a good spot. If your IT guy is busy, you're in a bad spot. You just don't know it yet.
That's a good way to put it. That's really a good way to put it. Because hopefully a good IT person is automated as much as possible and has all the checks in place and is getting notified when there's problems and fixing them, And the reason we're telling you this, guys, by the way, is that we want you to see the inside of what MGM is having to scramble with right now, because it's not easy for them, the IT guys on that side, because a lot of it's not their fault. Some of it probably is. From what I've read, there's a lot of antiquated systems out there that were never really touched or upgraded. And that's on MGM for not, devoting the money and resources to infrastructure upgrades like that. Again, that's speculation. We don't know if they've, did that or not, but I wouldn't be too surprised. A lot of big companies like that have old systems. But just the fact that sometimes you can be ultra prepared for things like this, but there's always a weak point somewhere. And that's what we learned more than anything on this MGM thing, is that the weak point was a human. And in a lot of ways, I think a lot of IT professionals overlook that, right? Like they look at, okay, is the network closed? Is there only these ports open? And are all these ports connected to this IP address? And I know I'm talking geek, but it's like, that's what most IT guys think about. What they don't think about is little old Suzanne that's answering phone calls on the computer and accidentally gets socially engineered and into the system, and that's what a lot of IT guys don't really prepare for, because sometimes you can't. You don't know what's being discussed and what, tools and things like that. And I'll give you a quick example. One of the things that we've always done at the company I work for is that all of the people that are connecting to their email, to their remote desktop and all that kind of stuff, they do not know their passwords. They cannot reveal their password. So if they get an email saying you need to log back into Microsoft, they can't because they don't know their password. And so we've set it up that way intentionally because, that's a strong way in where somebody has the old passwords.txt notepad file right on their desktop, and that's a way hackers will get in. They can get into that system and then suddenly get passwords to the next system. Then they get passwords to the next system, and it goes on and on and on from there. Anyway, I've rambled a lot about it, but this is how social engineering plays a role in all this kind of stuff. And, I think all of us could probably use training on this. And I mean, here's another example of social engineering, by the way. When you get those emails or you get those phone calls that say, you just bought Best Buy Geek Squad, and we're like, wait a minute, I didn't buy that, and it says press 1 to talk about it. That's social engineering. That's the same thing. It's just that they're socially engineering and trying to trick you into giving them money. It's the same thing. And so we should all look for training on this, to be cognizant of what these potential sources are, so that we don't fall victim to it personally or as part of the company you work for.
And that's sort of a big deal in our environment because we always have training, but it's the weakest link. It's always the weakest link. I just went through training. It took me nearly 45 minutes out of my day. In IT, that's a long time to sit there and click on stupid stuff.
Right.
And it's ridiculous how that's still that one person clicks on it. We had one come through not too long ago that was an email, completely spoofed email from the president of our company, and 4 people replied to the email.
Yep.
I'm like, what were you thinking? The first thing is, hey, I need your phone number. Can you send that to me?
Yeah.
What?
Contact me on WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's like,
stuff like that.
I cannot talk to you right now, but contact me on Snapchat. Yeah, the CEO is going to say contact me on Snapchat. That's going to be a thing.
Yeah. We thought about you'll like this, Dave. We thought about actually purposely creating a spoof email and then publicly shaming the people that fell for it. It's like
if that works, if that works, it works.
Right.
It's I mean, it's a little bit better when I come forward because I just say we go Yakuza on them and start cutting off fingers when they make a mistake.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a little
serious, but... You can only make 10 mistakes.
Oh, man. I guess you move to their toes, and then they're really screwed. They can't walk anymore.
I don't know. They run out of hands. So they can't really work at a computer anymore anyway. So
that's right. That's good, Dave. I love it.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff that cripples an industry.
Yeah.
And we saw it not only happen with MGM, but also with Caesars. So now the question is, who's next?
Yeah.
So the positive note is that the Oka agent that got hacked, they've already patched that. A warning went out as soon as they found out what it was. And so any other company that's still using that agent, that weakness is gone, but they could already be in at this point.
Right. Yeah.
And so really, if I had to take a guess,
tell that they're in,
it would be hotel. You just wait for your time.
Yeah.
And Boyd would be my next guess. That'd be next, just because their size.
Yeah.
After that, you have Penn Gaming, but then after that, you really just sort of have a couple of 3s and 4s properties down to independents like Venetian.
Yeah.
So really, it's sort of who are we going to see next? And there's also been Venetian has had an incident, or Palazzo has had an incident, and Harris has an incident where the machines went down and everyone's yelling that, oh, they got a hack. And then Harris went down. And these we now know are independent, non-related incidents. They were an update,
but
that
everybody
went bad,
called. Yeah, exactly.
But everyone panicked.
To jump to the conclusion now. Yeah.
Right. And so it's really hard to say what's going to happen next, when it's going to happen.
I mean, I know there was a news article about Venetian being like all the machines are down, potential hack or whatever. But then when you go and you find the real article, it's they were doing a software update routine.
Yeah, and it wasn't all the machines.
Honestly, they might have been pushing that software update to prevent this. They got their shit in gear and said, we can't wait for our daily maintenance update time to push this. We need to push it out now. That could have been what was it. It's not very often that you see all the machines reboot or the casino shut down and come back up for a software patch. They usually do it very early in the morning. They roll through machines that aren't being used to apply the updates. They're not updating the payback percentage. They're updating the software packages for holes and things like that for hackers. And that's the kind of thing that they typically wait to do. But I think based on how energized this all is right now, that they probably didn't want to wait. They just said, let's get everything up to date. If I was an IT guy or an IT director at any of those casinos, I would be doing the same thing. I'd be like, guys, we're next. So let's make sure everything is up to date. You know, let's roll through it now before it's too late.
And another thing to consider is that in IT, you're only as good as your budget. And I'm hoping a lot of these guys ask for a lot of money all of a sudden, like, hey, I need this much money this fast if you want me to do any of this stuff. Because we're always asked, okay, we need to go to the moon, but we have a paperclip and a piece of bubble gum, and there's your budget. And now make me a space shuttle. Like, sure. Here's your space shuttle.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to get to the moon. Well, neither was your budget. So
and there's a law. There's a law of diminishing returns in IT also, where, you know, some of the things that I've been told in the past is our site can never go down, not even for a second. I'm like, okay, I can do that, but it's going to cost $100,000 a month to do that, to accomplish that task.
And I can absolutely.
And you're like, you know, are you okay with 5 minutes of downtime? Okay, if you are with that, then it drops all the way down to $900 a month. You know, are you okay with 10 minutes of downtime? Well, that drops down to $100 a month. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, there's some times where the demand is super. I mean, not even Google. I mean, Google goes down, like Facebook goes down, Microsoft goes down, because it's so costly to put in so many protections that you can't go down. So you have to make some kind of compromise sometimes to balance the cost, like you're talking about, like building a rocket ship, and the protection. Like, how far do you want to go that it's reasonable? You know what I mean? And maybe in situations like this, you do need to go a little bit further and invest a little bit more to get rid of those old systems that have been working, but obviously have flaws. You know, this is the time to start thinking about all that. And I think that it would behoove a lot of these other casinos around the country to start really looking at their systems and make sure they're up to date and not just relying on it because it's working. You know, that's dangerous thinking in the IT world. It's like, why you've probably heard this. Why fix it if it's not broken? Yeah, but
that works great for some things.
It works great for some things, but for others, it's preparing to be broken. If that makes any sense. So anyway, that's a long story about IT and how it all works and all that kind of stuff. But it's, in my opinion, I don't think this is over yet. I think it's still too soon. I
think the worst is over.
So I think the worst might be over. But I would not be surprised. I guess that's a way of wording it. I would not be surprised if they are still inside of their system somewhere. But we don't know. Like that's the kind of stuff that they will never release publicly because it would just cause more attacks, you know, or more attempts.
It'd be an embarrassment now.
Yeah, it would be bad. So, I mean, they're going to have to reveal. There's no way around it. Like, they're eventually going to have to. I mean, we, like Dave said today, already getting alerts from what's the name of the service that you use? I forgot.
For LifeLock?
Yeah, LifeLock. So LifeLock already has the alerts out, but eventually, after all this is kind of settled, MGM is going to have to come out with a statement about what was lost, and if any of you guys were compromised, they're going to have to reach out to you. There's a law that says they must do that, and I think there's a law that in California they must talk to you on the phone. I don't think they can just send you an email.
Oh my
that was
God.
An old law. I think it was an old law. I remember having to deal with that back in the early 2000s when I was
just send me an email. I don't want to talk to you on the phone.
Yeah, I think they had to make actual contact with somebody in California to let them know. So anyway, we'll know exactly what was leaked and how it was leaked and all that kind of stuff officially soon, but I think it's LifeLock is already aware of the hack, and it's not good. It's definitely not good. They got a lot of data.
Definitely not good. I mean, the only thing that I think is probably the saving grace in all this for MGM is that this didn't happen during F1.
Oh yeah,
they have poured billions into this F1.
Yeah,
this
that's
whole
true.
thing. And if it had happened during that time and just crippled them, because their whole thing is they're putting all this money in because they believe there's a big payout for them.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't happen, that's going to be horrible.
that's true. That's definitely true.
I mean,
And
a lot of
maybe
this
then they
stuff
would have
freaks
been
me
more
out.
motivated to pay just to get it back up for the weekend.
Yep, that's
You
very
know?
true. And there's another thing. That email came out, or they should say their statement came out, that everything's okay on Wednesday for the new week, for the new weekend.
Right.
So that's more along the lines of, hey, don't cancel. Come in anyway.
I know.
And
I mean, if it wasn't for G2E and the obligations that I have to be there, I would not be even booking anything to Vegas right now. Like,
I
for
totally
MGM
want to
stuff.
go. I want to see the
you
carnage.
want to be in it. Oh,
I want to be up close. I want to talk to people who have been through it.
You want to be in the carnage. I got you. Okay.
I want to be in the carnage. I want to find out what's happening. I want to see these problems. But that's just me, like I want to be right in the middle of the dumpster fire.
Well, you should have been out
just
there
like
last week.
Just like Chatfield's show. So IT is a dumpster fire, but it's fine.
It's all fine.
That's pretty much it. Let's go to some questions here.
For the MGM to pay for 2 years of credit monitoring. I've got like 20 years of free credit monitoring at this point because I was part of the Experian hack, T-Mobile hack.
thing.
Like all of those have been. My social security number is known by the entire world at this point. Like,
you just don't even worry about it anymore. I mean, when I was at Oak Lawn a few weeks ago, a guy hit the progressive on blackjack for $121,000 or whatever it was, and he was freaking out that someone might have seen his social security number on the paperwork. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with your social security number?
And you're fine.
Yeah. Just go through, lock it. If you want to do a service like LifeLock, it's super handy.
Yeah.
It's super. The little app, click, yes, that was me. I applied for that credit card. All right, let's go over some questions here. We got from Young Coconut. What's up, fellas? What are the chances MGM will scrap the accelerator points program for something more player friendly? I doubt they will, but wish to get your thoughts from a historical perspective. So Mark and I have texted back and forth about this, that MGM is going to have to do something to earn player loyalty back. Now, it may not be something big, and it may not last very long, but I believe they're going to have to do something, whether it's more free play, better comps, revamping their system, a change to the accelerator program, whatever. Something's going to have to change to earn that trust back, because trust is fleeting. I mean, it really is. There's too many choices. And it's going to be, what would you like to see, Mark? Like what would your dream player offer be?
Well, I'd like to get like an upgraded room and food and beverage always covered, and then more free play than I typically get. I mean, I think that's again an impossible situation.
Yep.
They've lost a ton of money during this whole thing. A ton. I can't even imagine how much lost play. I can't even imagine the numbers. So being in the room with an executive saying, how do we get people back in here? And you're like, well, we need to offer more money.
Yeah, we need to offer more money. We lost $10 million a day.
But I think there's no other choice, because that is currently the mechanism in place to get people out there. So they're going to have to bump up those offers. Otherwise, these competing, like the Wynn and some of the smaller casinos, Boyd Gaming and all those, have a huge opportunity on their hands to take over that audience. And they're going to have to do something. And they're going to have to do it quick too. They can't just sit and wait a couple of months and then say, oh, this is the welcome back program where we double your free play if you book between now and the end of the year. They got to do this stuff quick. Because here's what I was actually thinking on the way home. Like, people already don't trust casinos, but now it's really bad. right? Like
They're
it's
really bad.
now it's even worse, and so they're gonna have to do something to build that trust back. And I don't know what the answer is, but they're gonna have to act quickly. And if they do nothing, that's gonna be a problem for them. I think they're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something good. And I want to see the players program essentially back to what it was last year before they changed it.
Yeah, that's what they should do. Add more benefits.
That's what they should do.
Yep.
Add more benefits for the rest of the year and then change it at the end of 2024. You know, kind of roll back, give you more free play, better offers, better, room charges, because room charges been nuts too.
Yeah.
And just basically kind of say, hey, we're wanting to earn your trust back. So we're rolling this back, giving you more purchase per dollars, so your spend doesn't even have to go back to 25x, go back to 10x.
Yeah.
Change the accelerator back to the multiplier, do a 3x tier multiplier. Try to earn that confidence back through bribery.
They did this after the pandemic. They went to free parking again. They just reinstated the parking, but they
they just reinstated that.
They did the tier multiplier, which they've never done. They were doing all of these things to get people back in. Hey, we're open again, so they have the capability of doing it. I think they're just going to have to do it. Maybe you get a free upgrade to the next tier status or whatever. I mean, there's some things that they can do to win people back that wouldn't cost them a lot of money. And as you know, like all their focus should be bringing people back in and building that trust again. And if they do that too soon, like if they like they're doing now, where they're saying everything's fine, we're all open, all the systems are back up, but it's not. And you get people to go out there under that assumption, and then they get there and it's still miserable. You've probably lost that person for life. Like you can only do this once. Like you can only get one forgiven, I forgive them because they're going through a tough time. But if you do it and then they get screwed again on top of that, it's like the faith is just going to be gone for MGM properties,
Exactly.
So it's a balance.
And here from Clever Girl, it's hard to build back trust when they continue to lie.
Yeah.
It's also true. And a quick thank to Clever Girl, Grant, Brian, Leanne, Joanne. Thank you guys all for your absolute so much detail. And definitely thank you to Sheldon and Chris there from Let's Go Handpay. So many people reported in on what's going on. I appreciate every little bit because those eyes and ears on the ground help so much. Really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Let's go here to another one.
Eyes on the floor. We appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. From Larry. Not sure if you know much on the details, but what is your opinion on how this will impact Okta? It's not going to. So they are one of the biggest security companies around. Multi-authentication, security in general. They have 17,000 customers worldwide. To give you an idea of how big that is, MGM is one customer.
Yeah.
It doesn't count because they have multiple facilities. It's one customer, and they have 17,000. So they're going to release a patch for all this stuff, but all these places are under contract with them. So the way IT works now is you don't purchase anything. You just sort of rent everything by licensing. And so it's a year-long license that you buy. So they're with them till the end of the year. Now, maybe at the end of the year, they'll make some decisions otherwise. But I have a feeling in the long run, this won't really hurt them too bad. It was a hole in the program, and it'll be fixed. It probably has already been fixed. Feel free to grab one, Mark.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I like this one. Richard Jacobs says, plenty of good places in Vegas. Go somewhere else. I totally agree with this. The problem is, especially with people like me, where I have gone on for years about MGM loyalists, is that all of my comps are at MGM properties, like free rooms, free food and beverage and all that kind of stuff. It's all in the MGM system. So I can go somewhere else, sure, but then I would have to pay for the rooms. I wouldn't get any free play. I would have to pay for the food and all that, which is fine. But to me, I would rather just stay home and wait for this shit to settle because, again, I've worked so hard and so long on building up all the relationships and the status and all of that kind of stuff at the MGM properties. It's hard to, I mean, a good story is my host that I've had for a long time. He moved to the Venetian, and he's of course begging me to come over there. And I'm like, I can't do it, man. I can't start all over. I'm
Right.
too invested.
It's too
with
hard.
MGM. I can't start all over. I don't gamble with a lot of funds, so it's like it would just take way too long. It's not. I can't even fathom that. You know, I would just go where I have the comps, and so. But I do agree, Richard, that definitely there are some good spots. I really enjoyed South Point. I think this is a great like hometown feeling casino that was very large. They had a bingo area, like old school bingo area. Have you ever been to it, Dave?
Yeah, South Point's nice. They have a brunch, but there that is amazing.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably one of the best in Vegas, and it's not super expensive either.
Oh, good. Well, there you go. But I do agree with you, Richard, for sure. There's a lot of places to go.
There's so many great places to go that you don't have to go to MGM. You don't have to go to Caesars.
Right.
It's just like Mark said, we're kind of invested at this point, and it's hard to change over.
Yeah.
You know how the system works. You know what you can ask for. You know what to expect. So even when we go up to like Windstar, I do not put too much money in because I'm just like, I don't want to get involved with another casino.
I know.
I just can't do it. Same thing with Oaklawn. Yeah. It's like $200 is what I'll bring to Oaklawn going up to see my parents. And that's it, because it's not that great a casino. I know they're not going to give me great comps because I'm out of town. And whenever they do give me free play, I'm not there. I got $100 free play one time, and it was a weekend I'm not there.
Right.
So it's just not worth it to me overall. That's from Clever Girl. I'll comp you at my house. Well,
there you go.
Take you up on that. Yeah, don't offer if you don't want it cashed in.
That's right. We can go play in the Aria High Limit room.
Yeah, exactly. One from To the Stars here, asking how my Tough Mudder event went. It was awesome. It was south of Toronto in Canada this weekend. The weather was great. Oh man, it was so great going from 107, 110 to like 48 degrees for a low. That was awesome. It went really well. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
What we got here?
You'll never see me in the mud.
I'll get him out there one of these days.
No.
Jody, I need your help.
Stop, Dave.
I'll go to your boss.
You're gonna stick me on. Mike says lots of good video poker. There's a ton of video poker at South Point. I mean, rows and rows and rows of them. And the table games are actually really good at South Point too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have $5 minimum there.
I believe they have some $5 tables.
I know for sure they had $10 minimum tables. I think they had 5 too, though. And they actually have pretty
5
good, side bets there that are very reasonable. I never typically play side bets, but the ones that they have there are actually pretty good. I mean, it's something to consider doing when you're at the blackjack tables. I think they're better than all the other ones that you find at the other casinos. Let me just put it that way.
I think South Point and Red Rock both have $1 progressive bets on blackjack, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, Mississippi Stud, those kind of games.
Oh, okay.
And where normally you have to bet $5, you have to bet your minimum bet to the progressive, you can just bet $1. So that's way better. I mean, ridiculously better than some of these places.
Yeah. Oh, and I think it is 3-2. No, it's fine. It is 3-2 there.
It is 3-2 at South Point.
Yeah,
that's correct.
6-5.
Now, also for 3-2 is the Downtown Grand. Several of the downtown casinos are 3-2 still. Red Rock, Green Valley Ranch are both 3-2, but pretty much everything on the Strip, every large casino is 6-5 now. That's unfortunately just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And this one from Jen. I explained what a script titty was. It's somebody who downloads a script who doesn't know what they're doing and tries to play hacker. And they're generally script kiddies are loathed by actual infiltrator hackers. They are not popular people.
Yeah. Usually
this one also from Jen
themselves. Let me put it that way.
They do. They usually get beat down like the new kid on the yard.
Yeah.
Every dope on Twitter is a reporter. Well, this is about to go away if they actually start that membership service. You're gonna
X.
see a lot less of that crap.
X,
But hey,
formerly
I'm one
known
of
as
those
Twitter.
dopes on Twitter. Except I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't consider you a dope though. You were getting a lot of good info.
Oh, that's good.
You're
Oh
getting a
yeah, I
lot of
mean,
intel.
the other thing was I went from 2,975 subscribers to 3,040 subscribers in 5 days.
That's great, man.
Which is better than I'd had all year long as far as the growth goes. So I really appreciate all you guys for jumping in there and subscribing.
Yeah.
Actually, some really good stuff. There was one from Kevin Neal. What do you think of the theory that they got an employee password out of somebody? Well, that was actually proven to be mostly wrong because they went in with the vulnerability in the agent, but they also may have also social engineered as well. So they already had the vulnerability on the inside, and they just needed the password to get the rest of the way in, and then they elevated from there. So it was still one person's fault, but even if they didn't have that person, they would have gotten it anyway.
Yeah.
They didn't really need them.
Just made it easier.
It just made it easier for them. Don't make anything easier for them, and that was easier.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a question from you from Low Roll in Detroit.
Hey, Mark, Hardy asked Dave, would you go work for MGM IT in Vegas, but you can't play anymore at their properties? No, I would not work for MGT IT. If I wanted to do IT, I'd probably go work at a manufacturer instead of a casino. I just think that it just seems like a very high pressure,
high
job.
stress.
At a casino because there's so much money on the line, and if anything goes down, they lose so many millions for something going down that I don't want to be on the receiving end of having to fix something under that pressure. It's like, sure, they probably pay you pretty well there for that, but it's not for me. Like I like low stress IT work, not being on the front line to fix problems. I mean, I have to, but it's not what I want to do every day. So
can you imagine their blood pressure this past week?
Casino IT department.
Blood pressure would be like,
oh yeah,
220 over 90.
No thanks. I would never be able to sleep because my phone would be on me. I probably have two phones, a corporate phone and an emergency phone. Like, no, I'm good.
And they both go off at the same time.
Yeah, you're not answering your other phone. It's like because the other one's ringing. Yep.
And this one from Michelle, which we kind of answered. With all this going on, would you not go to Vegas, stay at MGM? I'd still go. But I was there a week after they opened up from COVID as well. So I'm a horrible person to ask because I was just chomping at the bit to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to have
to get out there after COVID
I was like, I'm going now.
Yeah.
Why do you want to get back so bad? Because it's something different to see.
Right. Exactly. It's not the usual. It's not the usual
right.
trip. I get it.
It's not the usual trip.
I totally get it.
It's like I want to see the crazy one. I'm gonna look here see if there's any more. You go ahead and take another one.
Okay. Let's see. Michelle says MGM has billions. Maybe needs to spend more cash and update systems, pay their IT people better too. Yeah, I'm always torn with this kind of thing because sometimes you can throw a ton of money at something and it doesn't make it any better. If they have old infrastructure there, it's going to take a long time. Now they are going to have to make the decision eventually that they need to start doing it. And this is probably a good time to start doing it. But again, it was kind of back to what I was talking about before with the cost, like the law of diminishing returns when it comes to IT and infrastructure and stuff. And a lot of times, what most executives want when you're sitting in the room with them is they want more features, faster. But as soon as you mention something like, hey, we need to go back and spend $500,000 to update this database so that it'll work for the next 30 years, they'll always say, yeah, but is it going to be faster? No, it'll work exactly the same as before. They don't want to do it. They don't want to spend the money on that because they want to get something in return. And so the term that we always used on the IT side or on the code side was called, what was it? I can't remember it now. Oh yeah, debt. It was called code debt, which is basically like code that is currently working but needs to be updated, so it's considered debt, DEBT. And so as soon as you come up to a manager or some project managers making decisions on what you do, and you say, yeah, we got a lot of code debt to deal with, and we're going to need 6 months, 23 people, and it's going to cost $1.5 million. They're always going to ask, well, what do we get at the end? Nothing new.
It just runs.
An upgrade. It's hard, man. They will say no and no and no until it's too late. And so sometimes you can try to throw as much money at something like this, and it takes an event like this to get people to wake the hell up and spend more time on it. And, maybe that's what needs to be done there. I have no idea what their systems look like. I would not be surprised if they're antiquated, though. MGM's been around
this
for a long
happens
time.
everywhere.
It does.
Because what happens is you have a budget cycle.
Yeah.
You're, how much little money can you do the same job with until you hit this critical point? And now it's okay. Now, how much money do you need to make it right? And so when you hit this bottom point, which is the critical point, now essentially you need double the money from what you had before to actually get it working because you went so much into a hole.
Right.
And that seems to be a common thing across every company.
It really is.
Do more with less until we get to that point where you say, we cannot do anymore. This is it.
If you keep going.
And now I spend money.
Anymore. Yeah.
Right. And now we spend money and try to get ourselves out of that hole.
Twice as much at that point.
Easily.
Because you waited till the very end.
Because you waited so long, all prices go up, and now we're just, why does this cost so much? Well, because we haven't upgraded that in 3 years. Why is this faster? Because you won't give us the money to upgrade this.
Right.
And it's a domino effect. The longer you let it roll, and this is I hate to be the bearer of bad news to you guys. This is every single industry that deals with IT deals the exact same way. How much little money do you need to keep operating?
Yes.
And then they're shocked when something like this happens. And how come you didn't prevent it?
Yeah.
This airlines, banks, everyone the exact same way. So when you see an IT guy out there and you're like, how's your job going? He just goes, it's going. He means it's going horribly.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love working 60 hours a week for little pay. I love it.
What, you only work 60 hours a week? Dang.
Except during emergencies.
Which is like almost all the time.
Pretty much.
60 hours a week. I didn't know you guys got vacations.
I work for a small company, less than 60 employees. So there's only so much that can go wrong. But yeah, when I worked for the university, it was not like that. It was tough.
Sometimes it's bad.
Yeah.
And it really is. And there's one from Richard again.
Real quick, I was going to say, I think when we heard about this, I think the first thing that Dave and I texted each other is like, we feel sorry for the IT guys.
Absolutely do.
Because it's just like, they know what they're about to be dealing with. Like long hours, no sleep, no extra pay to get the systems back up and running as soon as possible. Management yelling at them, saying we're losing $100 million every minute that you can't fix it. Like this is the nature of most IT jobs, and it sucks. And it's like one of the things that we said is it can go one of two different ways. Like there is what I just described, where you're an IT guy and you're responsible for, say, the network, and you have a boss, and during a crisis, the boss is just like pounding you every 5 minutes. Is it up yet? Is it up yet? When ETA? I need an ETA. Is it up yet? We're losing millions. We're losing millions. We're losing millions. You have that. And then you have the other environment, which you have your manager who rolls up his sleeves and says, what can I do to help? Can I get in there and, reboot some routers for you? Can I apply some patches? Like what can I do to help? I'll run interference. I'll make sure that none of the managers are talking to you. That is a good IT environment, but unfortunately, that is not common. It's usually the other
rare
side of it. And so I can't even imagine how many IT people have probably walked out by now.
And what about this one? Because I know you've heard this one. You ready for this? We'll remember this when bonus time comes around. No, they won't.
I won't be here, so don't worry about it.
They never remember it when bonus time comes around. What are you talking about? What cyber attack? This one, the one that happened. That was so last quarter. Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
Right. Right.
And it's so true as well. It really is true. It's we'll remember that next bonus cycle, and they totally forgot.
Yeah. You have to remind them. Yeah.
So from Richard, don't you think MGM deserves this nickel and dime in resort fees? Oh, it deserves the action. I don't think anyone deserves this, just because it's so detrimental to the systems.
Yeah.
It's so detrimental to the customer. I know that they nickel and dime on everything. Literally, I know that. All the fees, everything that's a fee, every little thing that you're charged for. But the fact is that places like this are just, it's bad for the customer. It's bad for us when this happens. They're not going to feel it in the long run. They have insurance policies over this stuff. They're going to be fine. They're still going to charge their fees, but all the people who are there and all the employees who had to suffer through this as well, they're all the ones taking all the brunt of this. And so do I think MGM could use this as a wake-up call? Absolutely. This would be a perfect wake-up call for how to do business, how to keep your customers happy, and everything else. There is a balance there, and I'm hoping this is the wake-up call. But no, I don't wish this on anybody. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, especially all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then one from Larry. Do you think the new SEC disclosure rules will cause companies, at least Fortune 500, to increase their IT budgets proactively? No. The disclosures only have to do with reporting after the fact. The SOX audits after 9/11, they were the original instigators for how much people were spending on IT budgets and keeping those things. But since then, there's been nothing that mandates IT spending. And the SEC reporting is just what public companies have to do after a breach like this, their requirements for what they have to do. But no, I don't think any of them are going to proactively increase their budget. They may allocate more funds to cybersecurity, but they're going to have to pull one area away to do that. They're not going to specifically say, let's add 30% to our budget.
Yeah.
They're going to say,
to
move 30% over. Yeah.
Right.
Move 30% of your budget over.
What they're going to do. They just have to report the findings, essentially.
Right. And yeah, that's definitely something.
Let me see.
A quick one here from K Holmes. All promotions are halted in Ohio. Does not shock me. I know Detroit was resuming their weekly promotions this week.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
See how that goes for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm just not convinced. I'll just say that. I think it's too soon to make the call that everything's back up. I mean, they said that the day after, and look what happened. I mean,
we're all fine.
So
we're not.
We're all fine. Sky's not falling. Everything's back up. It's like, yeah, but it's funny because everybody we talk to that's in Vegas is not saying that.
Right. It's like they're not saying it at all. Here's the one from Jay Boris. If and when MGM locate the hacker or hackers who hacked into their system, do you think MGM will offer them an IT position?
They're not.
For one, they're never finding them. They're not interested in a job, and they're never finding them. These are people who would have a job at the. So to give you an idea of where IT security has its big home is in Israel. Anybody who is worth their sand as far as an IT security person, if you get hired by an Israeli company, you're just going to cash in your ticket. I mean, it's just, hey, where do you want to go? Anywhere. If you just walk into some of these places and say, hey, I have this, this, and this, they're going to hire you. But they obviously don't want that. They don't want the 9-to-5 job. They're not looking for that. They're looking for the excitement, the danger, the testing their systems, testing their abilities. You're not going to find that in an IT position like Mark and I have. That's not a job we do. That's an NSA job right there. That's more likely the people to hire them.
There's also, these are called black hats. There's also white hats. And these are people that have that same level of skill as the nefarious people do. But they actually are consultants, which will, and this is actually really hot right now, as you can imagine, but they're actually consultants that will intentionally try to break into your systems and then send you a report how they were able to do it or what weaknesses they found or whatever. So there are good people on this side of the scale that make a lot of money. Those people make a lot of money, but unfortunately, just with everything good, there's always the bad side to it too.
Yep.
And those are the people that decide to do ransoms and things like that. And it's questionable if it works out in the long run. I think it's all about what kind of person you are. You know, do you like to do harm or do you like to do good? And, you know, I think that's which path these people end up taking is based off of
They
that.
take the light side of the force or the dark side of the force.
Yeah, right.
You know, and
Pretty much.
in my experience, a lot of the guys who are on the criminal side will generally get to that point as they get into their 30s, early 40s. They'll come over to the legitimate side because they realize they want that stable paycheck. They want that, 9 to 5. They want to be home every night and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that's, as people age, their, goals change. And so that definitely does occur.
Definitely agree.
Let's see. Here's one from Michelle. Husband was IT head of payroll for a major company. Manager's mad when the old system crashed. No paychecks. That's always how it goes. They're happy with you until something happens. And then they're not. Like every single time that seems to be a problem.
Oh, it is.
The system crashed. Why did it crash? Because you didn't want to update it. Well, why didn't you update it anyway?
Why didn't you just go against what I asked you to do?
I had to build that space shuttle with a paperclip and bubble gum. I don't have anything left.
Yeah. It's like, what happened? Don't worry about it. It's up.
It's up now. Don't worry about it.
It's up
now. That's one of the things. Every time someone asks me a question of, what'd you do? Do you want me to explain it to you? Or do you want me to just get it done?
Yeah. It's like yeah.
It's like, I can explain it to you.
I had an IT boss that I was the only one. So the server went down and all these devices that were connected to the servers just stopped working. I mean, for all customers. And of course I knew it happened because I got the alerts and I was in there. I mean, you can only imagine what all of my screens looked like, multiple tabs, multiple terminal windows up, just trying to get it back up as soon as possible. And he calls me and he's like, when's it going to be back up? I'm like, I'm working on it. I'm like this with the phone, like
I'm literally working on this right now.
He's like, oh, I'm going to put you in the support queue. I'm like, do you want me to talk to angry customers or do you want to solve the problem so they don't leave us? Like, which is it that you want me to do?
I can do one of these things effectively. I cannot do both.
I left 30 days later, by the way.
Not surprised, right?
Yeah, it's just like, no, if that's your thinking, it's like, yeah, I'm gone. That's not going to work.
Quick one here from Carla Joe. Any news on Lake Charles or Kinder? No other casinos have been effective as far as I've heard.
There's no MGM properties in those, so should be good.
This is just MGM and previously Caesars. No one else has had issues currently. I am not going to be surprised, but also, so like Kinder is Grand Coshada Casino. I really doubt they're going to go after a small independent casino. They want to go with people who have money.
Yeah.
Right. They want big checks, and they're going to go after properties that have big checks, which is MGM, Caesars, Boyd, Penn, those places who can afford to pay. I would not be so shocked to see Wynn in there, but they're going to go for the big money. It's essentially just how they are. And Bullion Bear says promotions at National Harbor in Maryland postponed as well. Dang. So that's another MGM property. I haven't actually, this is the first time hearing of anything in DC. So thank you, Bullion Bear. Hadn't heard anything about that one.
Yeah. I think there was only the one that wasn't affected. Where was that? I think it was overseas, wasn't it? It's one of the MGM there was one MGM property that was not affected by this.
So the one in Macau originally wasn't affected.
Yeah.
Until the 2 days later, when the initial report was that the FBI told them to shut down stuff. But now we know that it was, they actually got in and really started causing havoc.
I got you. Okay.
They had to shut down. And they had to shut down because of the player integration system and the reservation integrated system. So those two systems were integrated, so I had to shut down because of that.
Gotcha.
But they weren't impacted horribly bad because the key system there still worked. And several other systems were still working, but the player integration went down. and Macau is big right now. It's sort of went to the wayside because it didn't really work out as an investment, but now they're starting to see an uptick in gaming until Dubai has their gaming announced later on. This also may affect the Dubai deal. So MGM may lose their deal in Dubai to open up a casino because of this.
Wow.
And that would be a loss of billions to them right there. I mean, billions and billions. Everyone's saying Dubai is going to be the next Vegas. Well, there's only one Vegas.
Yeah.
And we keep hearing Macau is going to be the new Vegas. Dubai is going to be the new Vegas. But then when you talk to people from China or from the Middle East, they want to go to Vegas to gamble. So I don't really know who's going to be the next big thing.
Right.
And if I did, I would be buying stock in whoever was building the next big place.
That's right. Would be nice to know that.
It'd be super nice to know. Gambling Globe's going to open its own casino in wherever the hell next little place this happens. The very first casino to go in. All it is like a card game and a couple of Marc's machines.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, just a bunch of coin machines. All the Barcrest machines will be in there, like the top dollar, the pinball, the cheese, Money Mad Martians. That's all it'll be in there. All those.
You guys are going to hate it, but we're going to love it.
Oh, yeah. There will not be any high volatility games anywhere in there.
No
That's
no huff and puff.
Get the hell out.
Yeah. Oh, why don't you have this game? Because it sucks.
It sucks. Isn't that
probably
personal?
Not good?
Yeah, but it sucks.
Yeah. Probably not going to work at a casino anytime soon doing that stuff.
No, I'm not worried about it. I would not want to open my own casino. Yikes.
I would love to work at. I would love to work in one that had to do with, where should you put the machines? How should we do the layout? Things like that. I would love to do that job. Any of the other jobs, I would hate doing.
I think if I opened a casino, I would tell everybody on the way in and even show screenshots. I'd print out the screenshots and attach it to the side of the machine, that every machine in there is set to the highest payback percentage possible. And then I would put on weekly seminars teaching people about all the stuff, how it works, budget control. That's the type of casino that I would run, because I think even with the house edge being 2 or 3%, which is what it would be on a high payback percentage machine, that's still plenty of money for me. Like, I would not get greedy, which is where a lot of casinos end up going. And I just want people to have a good time and play the games that they love and feel like they have a fair chance, and that's how I would open a casino. Now, no investor would probably ever give me money for that idea, but that's what I would do.
And there would still be people who are saying, Marc's changing the percentages on the weekends and during holidays. And he just puts that
out to fool.
Just printed those out to make you feel better. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still being scammed. Well, how?
Right.
What can I show you to prove that this is actually truth? And they still wouldn't believe it even if you showed them.
I have 15 videos on this topic, and people still post in the comments that they're out to screw you. Like, they can change it whenever they want and make you start losing. Whatever.
It is what
it is.
It's just nuts sometimes that people will just believe whatever it is that someone else says, and they won't find the information out for themselves. They'll just, I heard from this one guy one time.
Yeah.
Well, who was that one guy?
Or I witnessed, like, the biggest problem with slot machines especially is the pattern recognition stuff, because the thing is that if you do play slots long enough, you may think that you're seeing patterns. It may even feel that way sometimes, but it's not intentional patterns. Like, it's part of randomness patterns. Like, things in randomness, things can happen coincidentally. Like, you can have multiple repeating events, even though it's random. And so the human mind just can't really grasp that idea. Like, they think that there's something to it. I noticed that I always seem to get a bonus within the next 5 spins after I see the bonus above or below the line. I'm like, well, you may be noticing that, but it's not because the machine is due or that it's in some kind of detectable pattern that gives you the idea that it's going to hit within the next 5 spins. It may happen, it may not happen. It's just randomness. But it's people will always look for that, and it doesn't even matter what you say. Like you could send everybody to a 2-hour seminar before you're allowed to play slot machines. You got to watch somebody explain how these things work, and people will go out there and still think there's something else to it. And it's the way these things are built. And it's, some people are willing to go the extra mile to really learn how they work, because I still think, we get questions like, why does this even matter to me? Like, who cares? Well, if you go in and you're putting your money on the line, believing some of these crazy things like that you should play at certain times of the day, well, maybe you're waking up early for no reason, or thinking that that machine over there is hot because it's paid 10 hand pays because the PA system keeps saying, hey, somebody just won a $10,000 jackpot on flaming sevens. It's like, so you hear that and you're like, wow, that machine is hot. I'm going to go, it's a $10 machine. I usually play dollars, but it's a hot machine, so I'm going to push my luck.
It's a hot machine.
I'm going to go do it. And then you lose your ass and you're like, well, what happened? It's like the casino must have saw me going over there, and they changed the odds so it
they changed the odds on me.
It's like, no, and that's the stuff where you get into trouble. Like, and so if people really learn how these things work, you can have a very neutral, understanding of, I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you go in and you take out your money to play a slot machine, you know that it's only for entertainment at that point, and that there's nobody screwing with you. It's just the machine and you, and that's it, and randomness. And if you do that, you have a better time, because then you're not trying to, oh man, oh crap, I spun it 6 times, not 5. It screwed everything up. The RNG.
What did I do?
Now. And it's like, oh man, no, just chill. Have fun.
Don't confuse a teaser as a pattern.
Right.
When you're on the double top dollar Diamond RS and you have 7-7 single bar,
yeah,
don't be shocked, because I get that all the time.
Yeah.
Double diamond, blank. These are the program teasers that come in. There's no pattern. And you could say, oh, it's about to pay. Look how close that line was. No, it's not. No. It's not anywhere close to pay. It's not anywhere close to it was 5 minutes ago when you spun the first 5 spins. It's just the randomness of it all. Now, I will say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
100% of the time, I can tell you when a bonus hits after a hit.
That's pretty good, man. How are you able to figure that out?
It's a skill that I'll show off at our Windstar event.
Okay, sounds great.
Yep. I will predict the bonus after it hits every time.
That's good. That makes for a great video. They predict when the bonus hits. That's all you got to say. It's good clickbait time.
Click. It just hits click. Look, there's the bonus.
Yeah.
I predicted it hit.
There's my prediction.
There's my prediction.
Oh,
and I like seeing other channels, who I will not name, when they see certain reels come up and they're like, oh, the bonus is coming next.
Yeah.
And what drives me nuts is when the bonus does come next.
Yeah, because then they think it's like the validation that you're looking for, right?
So 1 in 100 spins, you got it right.
Yeah.
That's the time you get it right. It drives me freaking nuts, because that person is now
and
the
some
guru.
Of these are really big channels, guys, like really big channels, and they say stuff like that, and it's just, ooh.
I'm going to start saying stuff like that just to get more subscribers. It works.
It takes every inch in my body to not to become a comment warrior in the chat. Like I really fight the urge to just let them have it, because I'm trying to be nice and friendly. But it's like, I feel like if you're a big channel, you have the responsibility not to say shit like that. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of eyeballs on you. And there was actually, here's a real funny, I know this is going long, but I'm rambling tonight.
Oh, we're good.
This is a real funny story. So, I do like watching Vegas Matt. I think he's hilarious, good personality. But anyway, he was playing in the Las Vegas airport, and I heard the slot attendant behind him, just the whole time, and everything that she was spewing was a rumor or a myth the whole time. Oh, when you get 3 stacks, that means another 4 stacks is coming on the next. I mean, it was nonstop. And Vegas Matt was just like, yeah, like, and I know exactly what he's talking about, because when I've ever played in the airport too, they always come around and stand behind me and try to tell me how to play top dollar. And I'm like, listen, you are messing with the top dollar king here. You cannot tell me anything about top dollar. Like, why did I accept 40 credits on top dollar premium for my first offer? Because that is what you're supposed to do on that stupid game, you know? And it's like, they're just constant myths flowing out of those attendants. And like, so, I mean, again, you have a responsibility if you're filming some of that stuff to correct them or say, I don't think that's right, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway,
the thing about Vegas Matt, and this Linda K says it as well, is he loses a lot of money.
Yeah, he does.
He said many times, oh, we're 280,000 down. I don't know if it's the truth or not, but geez, I mean, that stresses me out. I'm just watching on YouTube.
If anything, it'll teach you guys a lesson of what can happen. I mean, if you bet big like that, you can lose big too. That's the, you know, that's the flip side of the coin. Rule. It's, I know that he's a multimillionaire and has got a ton of money to put into this, and you know, it's cool. That's what he decides to do with it. More power to him. He's an entertainer, but you know, you just have to be careful. And I think he's very honest. He's very open. I've talked to him already several times, because we're trying to do something with him on the Cowboy Slots channel. And I think he really does try very hard to not spread the myths. And he gets, you think we on Cowboy Slots get a lot of crazy comments? He did one, which is the reason I reached out to him. He did one about why you should always use your player's card. And he got destroyed in the comments. I mean, it was ugly, you know, all the way from people claiming that they were casino hosts, and the casino hosts knew that they could manipulate the slot based on who used the card. And I'm like, there's no way you're a casino host. Like, if you said
there's no way a casino host,
you'd be fired. You know, that's because it's not true. And he got destroyed on that one. And it's like, so he's really a good stand-up guy. Like, he's really trying to put the good message out, you know. And I think it's good that he shows both sides of it, because he could have easily just shown the wins, the big gigantic wins from his giant bets. But he shows the losing sessions too, and he has a fun time doing it and saying, oh, well, this is what happens. I mean, that's great. And you know what? It proves that you can be successful and show wins and losses, you know?
Yep.
And I think it's good for everybody.
Wins and losses are reality. And it's like, you can't just say, I always win, because everyone knows that's fake. They don't want to believe it, but they know
everyone doesn't know that's fake. That's the problem.
Geez,
everybody does.
Everyone should know that
everybody
that's
watching
you can't always win.
But you know, there's a lot of people out there that'll believe anything.
Can't always win. We've gone pretty long tonight. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. No, that's the way, you know, this way we have a lot to say on the topic, especially MGM and everything else. And Mark, I appreciate you coming by as always.
Oh, sure.
Let's do this again next week before our Windstar trip. And if you are in Oklahoma, Louisiana, North Texas, or even all over Texas, I hope
you guys will come. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Come and hang out. I mean, it's going to be a blast. We have so much fun there. There's a lot to do. And we're going to be there for quite a long time. So definitely come and hang out with us.
And by the way, I'm trying to get Slot Hopper and Stacy to show up also.
Fingers crossed.
So that'd be great to get those two involved too. Get to see them.
That'd be awesome. And you never know who may show up, you know? It's definitely a possibility that FNS should show up.
No, that's true.
Slots could show up. We have a lot of slot channels right here in Texas, so
that's right.
They might show up. You literally never know. Exactly. All right, gang. Thank you so much for coming, Mark. Appreciate you again. Remember to gamble smart.
Gamble safe.
There we go. You guys have a great rest of the week. More coming at you soon.
Yeah.